Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a brand new speed build, this time doing a huge kind of suburban mansion, and it's one that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So this is the one that I was talking about in my previous video. It's a 4-bed, 4-bathroom build set on a 50 by 50 lot in Willow Creek, and it comes in at just less than 415,000 simoleons. So I can't even tell you how stressful this whole voiceover process has been, because I actually recorded this entire voiceover yesterday, and I came to find some music and saw some music for the video, and as I came to import the music, the whole thing crashed and I lost my entire voiceover. Now it's actually something that's happened before, and I'm really careful to frequently save, but for whatever reason I forgot to save, and yeah, so I lost it all. So this is actually the next following morning. Now overnight, as you may hear in my voice, guess who's ill again? Honestly guys, this is really not good. Basically my daughter, she's always been really fighting fit and really healthy since she's been born, and she's not really suffered with any ailments as such, but similar to me this year, she's taken a little bit of a hammering, as I have. Now, she had the snivels over the last couple of days, and I was like, oh gosh. So I've been really careful. My other kids have been really healthy. They've been absolutely fine. So I thought I could be just very careful and get away with it. Only yesterday she wanted me to pick her up and give her a cuddle. So I went to pick her up and she coughed. And as she coughed, she virtually did it basically in my face. So I was like, great, okay. And I'm not saying it's just from yesterday, but I did know pretty much in my heart it was going to be inevitable. I would end up with another cold. So I have tried to get into the doctors this morning. Unfortunately, our doctors have a stupid process where you have to ring up exactly when they open, and if you manage to get through, you will have a chance of just about getting an appointment. And I phoned, they open at 8:30 in the morning. I phoned at 31 minutes past and they were fully booked, and it's Friday, so I'm stuck like this for the entire weekend. I mean, there's nothing they can do about a cold anyway, but as you guys know, I've been poorly quite a lot this year, and you know, I'm gonna have to go for some blood tests and things like that. And I know a couple of you have recommended some kind of immune sort of tablets and medication that you can take, which can help strengthen you, and I'm certainly going to look into doing that kind of stuff, because I think my body needs an extra helping hand. But coming back to the build, I am going to soldier on through this voiceover, because boy did I have fun building this house. I absolutely adore this house. It's probably, I mean, I do really enjoy the building process overall on, you know, no matter what build I do, but this particular style of build, as you know, is my favorite, and I just really love this house, and I spent a lot of time on it, really going into detail, to the point where it actually took 6.5 hours to build this house, which isn't the most amount of time I've spent on a build, but I did spend a lot of time on the finer details. So I really tried hard to include as much detail as possible, but it was literally impossible unless I did like an hours long video, because there was just so much detail in this build. I really enjoyed it. So I must also point out before I carry on that we are in the morning now, and my little parrot is awake, and so you might hear a little bit of chirping in the background, and I apologise for that. She can be quite vocal in the morning. She's actually chilling out now in the evening, and she sleeps a lot in the evening. Birds and parrots actually go to sleep as soon as the sun sets, which is so bizarre. It's like quite weird, but she's like chilling out in the evening now. now, so I'll try and get my voiceovers done then. But she's awake this morning, so just to let you know. So the main idea behind this house was that I really wanted to build a house that had an indoor pool, and I think I mentioned it in one of my recent videos that I really wanted to kind of focus on sort of the indoor gym element and spa and pool sort of element in a build, and so that's really where I went with this particular build. And so I decided to build the actual main area of the house first, and then I added this extension onto the side, which featured a large indoor pool area, and it was so fun to make. I think it's been a really long time since I've actually done an indoor pool. I think the last time I did indoor pools were with castles that I made in the past, but it's been a really long time since I've actually built a castle, so yeah, it's been a while. But I wanted to focus on kind of the exterior of the house, building the main sort of structure of the house, then adding the extension on, and then going on to all the details of the build. Now, the biggest problem that I had with this build was actually the wallpapers. And it's funny because one of my good friends, Crystal Plays The Sims, she's a Twitch streamer, and she messaged me the other day and she said, you know, you do really well with picking your wallpapers. And I would say that it's quite a hard sort of thing to do, because if you're just building for yourself and you're not building multiple houses all the time, you can get away with using certain wallpapers. But when you're kind of building for YouTube, you don't really want your houses to always look the same or use the same wallpapers. And sometimes I find this challenging because the ones that I've used are obviously the favorite ones that I really love. So it makes the process difficult. So I actually left that out because I messed around so much with the wallpapers in this house that it would have been daft for me to include it all. So I kind of skipped past that. So you'll see a few different designs on the outside, a few different colours, but eventually this kind of brick colour was what I finished with. Now, the gardens in this build are some of my absolute favourites. They're like really big, lush gardens. Now, I decided to use this kind of little it's like a little stone slab, and I think it's from the Spa Day pack, and I decided to use it as a border instead. And it was a very long and tedious process to sort of get it all lined up properly, but how it looked in the end, I really loved it, especially because this house was so big and the garden was so big. It just gave a really nice look. Sorry, I was losing my voice there. So I decided to kind of line the outside of the house, or surrounding the house, with small kind of sections of flower beds. But in the back garden, I blew up a lot of the flowers and made them super big and sort of lined all around the outside with these big, huge plants. And sometimes I think that sizing up plants and similarly with sizing them down can make them look completely different, and they're really, you know, quite pretty. So I'm actually really glad overall that I stuck with this house, because I've been doing something recently with building which I never ever do. Now, normally when I'm doing a build, I focus on one build. I do it from start to finish, edit it, upload it, and then I move on to the next one. But just recently I've been actually starting builds, leaving them, and moving on to other builds, leaving them, and I think I had something like 3 on the go at one time, and I've now figured out that this is not the way for me to go, because I then get completely picky and I then come back to builds and decide I don't like them and bulldoze them, and it's just a complete waste of time. Now, this particular build I actually built the shell of, and I didn't like it. Now, normally when I log off from The Sims, I always try to log off on a positive note where I feel really enthusiastic about the build, so that I'm more likely to feel excited to come back to finish it off. But with this one, I actually built the shell and logged off and didn't feel good about it. But I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning and I was just like, actually, I'm going to mess around with this build and see if I can kind of change the shape and make it work. And I'm so glad I did, because this has got to be one of my favourite builds that I've done in a very long time, if not my favourite. So I stuck with it, I changed things around and it works. So it just goes to prove that definitely the theory of sort of switching off from The Sims and coming back the next day can sometimes just be enough for you to get that creative flow within yourself to just pick it back up again and carry on going. Now, I did try to include the majority of the main footage for the outside of this build, but there really was so much detail and so much going on. But there was lots of activities and skill building items included in the outside, from a seating barbecue area to an easel, a set of swings. We had planters as well as the flower arranging table. There was literally loads going on, and as per usual, whenever I do a big build, I always try and space those activities out around the outside of the build, just so that your Sims can enjoy the outdoor space to the maximum. But I'm just moving on to the interior now, and this is the kitchen. Now, the downstairs of this build was absolutely huge. It was huge in comparison to upstairs. So in the downstairs of the build, we had a big kitchen, a dining area, 2 reception rooms, a study, as well as a gym, a really large sort of hallway, and a big pool room. And it was really exciting doing the floor plan of this house, because there was just so much going on, and I had so much space to work with as well, that I could literally fit in everything that I wanted to. And the main things that I really wanted to include was the whole sort of fitness element into this house. I wanted it to have a fully functioning gym and a really nice pool area, and just feel like a really nice, big, healthy, happy home. So it doesn't have any particular style with it. It's not done to like a really posh sort of essence on the inside, or it's not done to an overly sort of homely feel, but it is a very warm house. I wanted it to be a huge family home, one that was just like fit for everybody. It could be for absolutely anybody, a rich couple, it could be a huge family, it could be wealthy single people, whatever you want, but they would have to be able to afford 415,000 simoleons, so they're gonna have to be rich to some extent. Now, I did actually make this into a separate dining room, and I did feel like this dining room was maybe a little bit too small for the huge table that I put in it. And initially, I was actually going to make this room into a butler's room, because I thought a house this big really could have done with like a nice, you know, I could imagine the family hiring a butler and having like a living butler. But even though we all know they're completely useless in The Sims, but instead, because it was just off the kitchen, I thought it would be a good place to put the dining room, but you can always change it up and put whatever you want in this particular space. But I kind of like the colours in this. I'm really loving like the dark woods with the light blues at the minute. You'll see that quite a lot in my builds. When I get excited about a colour combination, you'll see it repeatedly throughout my builds until I come up with another one I'm excited about. So apologies about that. But I'm just moving on to the pool room now, and I really love doing this room as well, because it's just been such a long time since I've done kind of an indoor pool area. So I wanted it to be like a really nice, light, bright, open space, but sort of cool and relaxing at the same time. So you'll see here, as I'm doing this kind of decoration in the middle of the pool, I later realised that where the sort of diving in board was, they would end up diving into one of those slabs in the pool. So I deleted the diving board, but you can always delete the decoration and put the diving board back in. It's entirely up to you. So I did include the majority of the footage for the rooms in this house. The only ones that I actually did leave out were the study, which was just a very small study. Really not that different from the normal studies that I do, but it just was a nice kind of small working area. And also there was 4 bedrooms. Now with the bedrooms, I had a master bedroom, a second kind of double bedroom, which was more of a guest room if anything, as well as a girls' room and a boys' room. And the second guest room I actually left out of the build because it was quite a generic space really. You know, there wasn't not a lot going on in that room, but I have included a screenshot at the end as well. Now, I did include the footage of one of the bathrooms, and basically the bathrooms are all the same. I always do the same kind of flooring, use the same suite and style throughout all the bathrooms in one household, because it just makes the process easier, and it's just a bathroom. But occasionally people will say to me, what do you do with your bathrooms? Because I don't always include them in. So I've actually included footage for that one this time. Now, with that reception room, which I did, I wanted to create kind of like almost like an animal feel, like with the zebra sort of print on the floor and the lamp, and I just wanted to create a really big warm space. So that was kind of like the main living reception area, but I did go on to do a second reception room, which you'll see shortly, and that was more for kids, because I think whenever I do a floor plan that features 2 reception rooms, if I'm doing a big family home, I always like to kind of turn that second room into like an activities and skill building space for kids as well, so that they have a place where they can go and do their homework, and maybe have like a kids homework club where they can all group together and work in that room. But yeah, I'm just working on the gym at the moment, and again, I really love this room because it was actually the room that featured the full length windows at the front of the house, and I felt like it was the perfect room for a gym because it was just so light and airy and breezy, and it just felt like a good place to work out. So I did include everything that they would need to be able to, work on their sort of fitness skill, and I included one of the yoga mats as well. And I do love yoga in The Sims, I must admit. I do think it's absolutely brilliant. Yoga's like one of those really popular kind of, a lot of people kind of enjoy yoga and stuff, and I think The Sims reflect that really, really well. So I included a little yoga mat as well, so this is quite a zen space to work out, and I think it's always good to have somewhere to sort of work out in The Sims, because I always find, and I've said this before, that whether it's part of your career or you've literally just had a baby, there's always some point in your life as a Sim where you might need to work out. So this is definitely a huge, great space to kind of hang out and work on those skills. So I hope you're all having a fantastic week. Mine's going really well, actually. All of my kids are broken up now for the Easter school holidays, and it's always really good to have them home. I always get excited to have them home and stuff, because it's just, the house is really busy, and it's really good to catch up with them because life's really busy, and when they're at school all day and they come home, they're tired, and we've got homework and tea and baths and all that kind of routine general stuff you've got to do. It's not a lot of time really to really sit down and chill out and catch up. So the school holidays are a great time to do that. And so we've finally got them all home, but my eldest is currently studying for his mock exams, which he's done the majority now, but he still has a physics and biology exam to do on the first day back after term. So yesterday we were working really, really hard with him and doing some revision. I think we did 2 hours solid biology revision, which was absolutely crazy. But I kind of said to him, let's get it all done and let's get it out of the way, and then you can sort of chill out, relax, and then we'll do a refresher on the day before you go back to school. So we've got lots and lots of stuff going on, but ultimately I think with having a little bit of illness, we're gonna kind of chill out and just sort of enjoy the holiday. So I'm just moving on to the upstairs of the build now, and as you can see, the floor plan is a lot smaller than it was downstairs, but you'll be able to see from the screenshots at the end. I always put in a screenshot of the floor plans that I do on the upstairs and downstairs at the end of the video, but I'm just working on the master bedroom at the minute. So as I said earlier, we had a master bedroom, kind of like a second sort of guest room really, and then there was a toddler boys room as well as like a teen girls room. But I enjoyed sort of doing the interior of this house a lot, and I did spend a bit more time. I don't really feel like it looks any different than the rest of the houses that I do, but I did feel like I spent a little bit more time being a bit more selective on the way that I did the interior of this house, because as you all know, and it's no secret, I'm not a massive fan of doing interiors really. It's just sort of one of those things that I kind of get over and done with, just so that I've got a completed house at the end. But saying that, I did actually spend a bit more time thinking about where I wanted things to be and how I wanted it to look. So I hope you guys can appreciate that. But I did actually have quite a lot of fun doing the interiors. And I always try and kind of change up the colour schemes and things like that with bedrooms and the furniture. I try not to use too many or like overuse certain items too much, because then it kind of looks a little bit samey. So this particular room was obviously for a toddler boy. I did decide to keep all the rooms in this house as single rooms. I know sometimes when I come to do the kids' rooms, I'll do a twin bedroom. And I think I actually had somebody say in the comments once, why do you always do twin bedrooms? It's like, well, I don't know really, I just do. I think I look at the size of the bedroom and decide whether, you know, it's got the space for 2 beds or 1, and then kind of work with that. But I honestly don't really think about things like that. I just sort of do them automatically. But yes, the rooms in this house are single bedrooms, so that person will probably be quite happy. But this is, I think this is actually one of the final rooms, and this is, as you can see, actually, I take that back. It started off as a twin room and I made it into a single room. But this is kind of like a grown-up teen girls room, if anything. But I actually really love the combination of the pinks and the greys. I just felt like it looked really kind of calm and cool. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, it would be awesome to have you on board. But have a fantastic weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.